Kyle Busch has 63 Cup Series wins. He is a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, claiming titles in 2015 and 2019. He leads all active drivers in Cup victories and holds the all-time wins record across NASCAR's top 3 series with 234 total wins. His peak driver rating of 109.3 in 2018 ranks among the best ever recorded in the sport. His nickname is Rowdy, and for most of his career, that name said everything. Aggressive, fearless, and dominant across every track type NASCAR puts on the schedule. This is not some mid-tier driver having a rough patch. This is supposed to be one of the greatest to ever strap into a stock car. So when the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season began, the expectation was clear. Kyle Busch needed a statement year. He was winless since June 2023, already a career-worst drought of over 100 races. And entering the final year of his contract with Childress Racing, everything was on the line. And then, for one brief moment at Daytona International Speedway on February 11th, 2026, it looked like the statement was coming. Kyle Busch posted the fastest lap in single-car qualifying and won his first ever Daytona 500 pole position. The crowd was electric. His new crew chief, Jim Pohlman, was celebrating his first Cup pole. Childress walked onto pit road to congratulate his driver personally. For one night, everything felt right. Then February 15th arrived and Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500. Busch never factored in the finish. What followed was one of the most alarming stretches of racing in Kyle Busch's entire career. Through the first 10 races of the 2026 season, he recorded 0 top 5 finishes, just 1 top 10, a 10th place at Talladega in race 10, and an average finish of 22.1. His best result prior to Talladega was a 12th place at the Circuit of the Americas, and that was the highlight. His adjusted points plus Indus dropped to 63, the worst of his career. At Bristol Motor Speedway, he spun after contact with Riley Herbst on lap 313, and over the team radio, crew chief Pohlman said the words no driver ever wants to hear mid-race. I know you're frustrated when your own crew chief has to say that while the race is still happening, something is broken, not just the car, something deeper. Then came Kansas Speedway, and it got worse. Busch finished 4 laps down in a season-worst 35th place, falling to 27th in the Cup Series standings, 66 points below the last playoff transfer spot with 16 regular season races remaining. That result sent shockwaves through the NASCAR community and opened the door for one of the most talked-about feuds of the season. Denny Hamlin, Busch's former teammate of 15 seasons at Joe Gibbs Racing, addressed the situation directly on his Actions Detrimental podcast on April 13th. Hamlin called out Busch's 5-year decline, his performance relative to RCR teammate Austin Dillon, and his struggles with the next-gen car. Things are not going well in the Kyle Busch camp, Hamlin said. If you're expecting Kyle Busch to just go back to victory lane on a regular basis, you are kidding yourselves, and you're going to be very disappointed. He did acknowledge the legacy, calling Busch a Hall of Fame Mount Rushmore driver, but the verdict in those words was impossible to miss. Busch did not stay quiet. At his media availability the Saturday before the Kansas race, he told The Athletic's Jeff Gluck, "If Denny wants to switch cars, I'll switch cars with him any day of the week, anytime. I would love for him to show me that he can carry it better than I can." And then he added, "I can certainly make his life hell." He made good on it. With 27 laps remaining at Kansas, Busch, running 4 laps down in 37th place, engaged in a side-by-side battle with Hamlin for nearly a full lap rather than yielding to the race leader. Busch's own spotter, Derek Nealon, tried to cool things down over the radio. "I hear it, but let's be smart here." The exchange spread across every NASCAR platform within hours. The deeper backstory made it burn even more. Busch had been forced out of Joe Gibbs Racing after 2022 when M&M's ended its primary sponsorship. Hamlin stayed. That wound never fully closed. On April 27th, Childress Racing made its move. The team announced that Andy Street would replace Jim Pohlman as crew chief on the number 8 car, effective immediately, with Pohlman transitioning to a leadership role in the competition department. "This move is about putting our people in the best position to succeed," said Richard Childress. RCR President Mike Verlander added, "We believe Andy and Kyle's previous working relationship positions us to improve the number 8 team and compete at a higher level." Street is not an outside hire. He has been with RCR since 2003, starting as an engineer before building his reputation in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, where he won 10 races alongside Austin Hill from 2022 through 2024. He had already served as Busch's interim crew chief for the final 5 races of 2025, producing an average finish of 15.8 compared to 18.3 in the rest of that season's outings. That prior relationship mattered. As Street explained in a phone interview, the relationship that was established with Kyle in the post-race meetings or post-practice meetings and so forth, it was really good. It was really good from the beginning. Busch acknowledged the change directly, saying the writing is in the point standings, and that under Street, communication and execution had already improved. The first 2 races under Street on at Texas Motor Speedway and Watkins Glen International showed genuine progress, and it was at Watkins Glen on May 10th, 2026 that the season took its most unexpected turn. With 38 laps to go in the Go Bowling at the Glen, Kyle Busch was heard on team radio making an unusual request. "Can somebody try to find Bill Heisel? He's the Kindred Doctor guy. Tell him I need him after the race, please," Busch said. His team asked where to send the doctor. Busch answered plainly, "Bus, I'm going to need a shot." He gave no further explanation. He stayed in the car. He kept racing. According to Fox Sports broadcaster Mike Joy during the FS1 broadcast, Busch had been battling a sinus cold throughout the entire week leading into Watkins Glen. Medical context matters here. The high G forces and significant elevation changes of a road course can dramatically worsen sinus pressure and pain, turning what might be a manageable illness into something that demands immediate attention the moment the car stops. Busch pushed through all of it and finished 8th, his best result of the 2026 season, before heading to his bus for medical treatment. Social media flooded with reaction. Some fans expressed concern. Others debated whether he should have been in the car at all. But the more pointed question came from those who had been watching the season unfold. If Kyle Busch is racing while sick, finishing outside the top 25 in most events, engaging in on-track altercations with former teammates, and needing a doctor after crossing the finish line, at what point does this stop being a slump and become something more serious? Busch addressed his situation publicly. "It's frustrating because I feel like I've done nothing except positive things in the time I've been at RCR. The last 4 years, I've done nothing but work as hard as I could possibly do." He pointed to simulator sessions and constant collaboration as proof the effort is there. But he also gave a window into what is actually keeping him going. His son Brexton, now old enough to watch, has become the motivation. "Brexton doesn't really remember the days of me being out there, winning all the time," Busch said. "So trust me, this is my life, our life, everything we've known, and now another generation is coming in. He is racing now to show his son what work looks like when results don't come easy." The data frames the scale of the decline honestly. Busch's driver rating has fallen from a peak of 109.3 in 2018 to 58.0 in 2026, a drop of 51.3 points over 9 seasons. Among modern Cup Series drivers since 1972, only Dale Jarrett and Cale Yarborough suffered larger falls across the same time frame. But history also offers a counter-argument. Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, and Ricky Rudd each experienced drops of similar scale before producing additional competitive seasons. Brad Keselowski fell to 67.9 in 2022 and rebounded to 82.1 the following year. Clint Bowyer recorded a 51.7 rating in 2016 and returned to 93.0 within a few seasons. Comebacks from this depth are rare, but they are documented. Busch himself has explained the structural problem at RCR. RCR were ahead of the game. They were ahead of everybody else in 2022, he said. As everybody has learned this car, the little tricks of the trade, the little things that you've got to do. Now the Gibbs and Penske's and the Hendricks have got it all figured out, and they are the top teams, and we haven't really come up with any more advancements to it. And so we've fallen behind. Kevin Harvick, never one to sugarcoat, stated on his show, "It just doesn't seem like it's going to get better." Dale Earnhardt Jr. sees it differently. On the Dale Jr. download, he predicted, "My guess, if I had to predict what ends up happening, Kyle Busch ends up getting an opportunity that gets him back toward the front of the field." Earnhardt Jr. specifically pointed to Spire Motorsports as a potential landing spot, a connection that already exists through Busch's part-time Truck Series drives for the team, his relationship with co-owner Jeff Dickerson, and Spire's 2024 purchase of Kyle Busch Motorsports. "I just got a weird feeling he's gonna end up at Spire for some reason," Earnhardt Jr. said. "He's not gonna drive cars that are underperforming for the rest of his career. He's gonna get in something. He's gonna find his way back to the front." But time is the variable nobody can control. Busch's contract with RCR expires at the end of 2026. He turns 41 in May. His winless streak now stands at over 100 races. 3 paths sit in front of him. The streak connection produces results, and Busch fights his way into the playoffs, rebuilding the case for staying at RCR. The results remain flat, and Busch departs for Spire or another available seat in 2027, or the outcome nobody in NASCAR wants to say out loud: no competitive ride materializes, and the career of one of the sport's greatest drivers ends not with a championship run, but with a slow, quiet fade. As Earnhardt Jr. put it, the time in the hourglass is running out. Father Time is undefeated and all that stuff, but I believe it happens, and it could be next year. 63 wins, 2 championships, 234 total victories across 3 series. And right now, Kyle Busch is asking for a doctor over team radio while piloting a 200 miles per hour stock car, fighting just to stay inside the playoff picture, and racing week after week to show his son that you don't quit when things get hard. Whether what comes next is a comeback or a final chapter, the story of 2026 has already said something real about the man behind the wheel.